It's just always that it has to be within your, yeah, there you go.
Gotcha.
My voice is like a foghorn. You can hear it 6 blocks away.
That's what my dad used to say about me.
I'm just doing what Dan said to do.
We
Right,
always knew
Dan?
you were in the neighborhood. We just didn't know how far.
You're good to proceed, Chairman.
Jim attending? Or,
He is not. Jim is out.
oh,
Jim is out all day today.
so we want to call to order now?
Yes, whenever you're ready.
Call to order for the meeting of today, April 23rd at 3:30 p.m. The first issue on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for March 26th. And in looking at them, they appear to be complete and accurate. And I make a motion that they be accepted. And Richard seconds it. All in favor?
I have one correction.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Were you approving separately the closed meeting, or is this for both sets of minutes?
This is to approve both sets of minutes.
Oh,
On-
okay.
Oh, it's for both sets.
On the closed set, on page 2, my name is Robert, not Richard.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I know that you're Robert. I apologize.
So
I will fix that.
that's in letter E, page 2.
I see it.
I see that. I am so sorry.
We're never going to not see it.
Line 2, paragraph. Thank you.
Okay, I amend my motion. I motion that the minutes for both the regular session and the closed session be accepted as corrected.
I'll second that.
And seconded by Richard and Linda, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good, unanimous. So we can proceed with, we're going to review now the second report of the candidates' campaign finance forms for the May 5th election.
I do have one thing on Ms. Hardy's, because she already has the first, the second, and the third. I don't think we can take the third before we have the meeting for the second.
That's, I agree with you.
You want us just to mention as we go along
That
what
would
we
be fine,
see?
yes.
All right, so on Ms. Hardy's, on the campaign financing report scheduled 2 expenditures, she didn't carry the totals down to the bottom of the page. See that? It's
I do
the
see that.
Schedule 2. Yeah. Nothing major. Do they only have to provide a bank account when they have the bank account for their funds that are
Yes,
over $500?
Lillian Hardy is self-funding.
I know, and so
Yeah.
when I'm looking at Nick, he says he has no bank account where she offered her, so just double checking.
I had a question about Mrs. Miller's. She has a negative $100 in-kind donation. I saw that when you sent them out, and I'm trying to figure out how you have a negative number.
I don't know that that's a negative. It's a little tilde. What is that little?
Well,
Maybe, my guess is she's saying it's approximately. I don't know. But you're right. How do you have a negative?
because it's something that on here it shows the signage, and then it shows a negative. To me, that's a negative number. I mean, it's.
Would you like me to contact her and ask her about that?
If you don't mind.
Well, she goes over to sign materials on Schedule 1, and she says that the value of the in-kind donation is minus $100.
Right, that's why, because
Yeah.
I saw both of them, and I figured how can, unless it was a credit, because they didn't put the line on it, or something of that nature, I don't know.
First report and see if if that provides any clarification.
You guys look at Harry Mead yet?
I hadn't quite gotten through it.
The $50?
Yeah, well, he contributed $50, but it doesn't, there's nothing to say on here about what the expenditure was for.
Donated $50 to his campaign is what I read in that,
Yeah.
but he didn't.
But he hasn't spent it.
anything.
He hasn't spent it.
Right. Total contributions was $50, and that's what he
Right.
had on, and he hasn't spent anything. I mean, why would he when Mrs. Miller's paying the bill? Yeah, I didn't remember seeing that on her first, the negative 100.
Yeah, it doesn't, I'll have to call and ask her about that.
Probably was inadvertent.
Linda, I wonder on Mr. Mead, he has a bank account, Harry Mead for city council, and I'm wondering if he had to put money
Had put
into that account
$50 in to open it.
to open it. Whether he uses it or not, it's.
Right. And I thought somebody did that last year, and if you don't spend it, you get it back.
And you just close it
Well,
out again.
somebody last year had to file a report that they took their money back or something.
Yeah, I think,
I remember, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember
I
that.
think Jim McCarron, because he took, when the campaign was over.
Right.
He took it back out.
Right. Wow. I couldn't even come up with the word belt yesterday. I'm impressed. Yeah, that is, she probably intended something else with the minuses, I would assume.
Yeah, I don't know, it just. Came from Laughing Coffin, which is their company.
What about on this page here of Rachel's? I mean, maybe you already discussed it, but it says cash balance at the beginning, 113, total contributions 200, total cash available. Well,
That doesn't add up, you're right. Should be 313.26.
exactly.
Yeah, because her,
Well, no, but she had an expenditure
Right, but if she took 120 out of 200, it would be $92 or something. It wouldn't be.
Well, but if she
it'd be
started
80
with 113, and then you go to 313, and you take 120 away, it leaves you with 192 and change.
Right, so so the total cash available should have been the 313.26.
Exactly.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Why she needs a treasurer. Sorry.
Yeah, she's right. 192, the balance ending at 192.
Yeah, that was right, so she just put the wrong number.
Her ending balance, the cash balance.
No more changes? So are we going to consider those approved once I get the
As
clarification?
corrected,
Okay.
yes. Is that right, guys?
Yeah, that's
Yes,
fine.
yes, I would say that.
It's not anything major that's
No.
out of kilter.
Any other business today?
Well, under new business, we were going to discuss the signage issue. And from my recollections, which Linda verified, the fact that she pointed out that she did not see the legend line at the bottom of any of the big sign on the side of the Laughing Coffin building by authority of Joe Blow, treasurer. And I forget who, I think it was Miss McKay, responded. Was it?
That was Rachel Miller.
Was it Rachel Miller?
Yeah.
Yep.
And Rachel Miller says, "Oh yeah, it's there. Oh, in small print. You just have to look for it." Well, I noticed. I went past the big sign as everybody else has, and there is no legend by authority of the treasurer. Today I took a picture of it, and I have a picture here on my phone. There is no authority line. And I looked at the yard signs that are peppered all throughout the community. They do not have the authority line on them either. Now, I see two problems. One, the obvious problem is the fact that the signs do not comply with the regulations that are set forth in the law. That's bad enough. But what I found particularly upsetting was the fact that Ms. Miller intentionally misrepresented the fact that that the authority lines are there. You just, as she said, you just have to look for them, and they are not there. And I'm just deeply concerned, not so much over the fact that that the legend is not there, but over the fact that there was a material misrepresentation to the Ethics Committee. And I think that that's a serious violation. We're relying upon the veracity of these people, the candidates, to make accurate and true statements to us. And if it's an intentional, as it was, if it was an intentional situation, I think that needs to be dealt with.
Okay. Would you like Mrs. Miller to address you on that issue? I know she's just joined us. Would you like her to explain that? Can you step up to the microphone there? Do you want to kind of reiterate?
Yeah, I will. I think it was our last meeting, I think it was Linda pointed out that we did not see that authority line on the advertisements that were set forth in the community and also in the sign of the Laughing Coughing building.
Oh, okay, so it is on the sign on the building. It's just in permanent marker because I did forget to
wanna say-
initially get it printed.
I just took it 15 minutes ago.
And if you go to my Facebook page that has been shared, if you go to the actual page
I
itself,
don't do Facebook.
it does have an authority line on it, which covers
All I know
all
is what I see on the side of the building, and it's not on there now.
It's on the very bottom in tiny writing.
How about the lawn signs?
It's definitely on those.
On the lawn sign?
Yes, sir.
You want to see? I'm delighted to offer you a picture that I just took about a half hour ago. Here you go.
I mean, can I approach?
May approach, sure. Yeah, well,
Can you,
show me where, just point.
Well, obviously, I'm not going to be able to see it.
Well, you can blow it up. You're probably better at this than I am.
So they
And
don't,
here's the main sign on the side of the building. The whole purpose of the sign, ma'am, is to be visible for people. And I mean, and if you can look, I don't see it on here anywhere visible.
because I'm definitely 100% aware that there should be authority lines, and I did go out there and write it with a permanent marker.
If
Right
it's
in front of-
permanent, it would be there today. It's not there.
Yeah, I'll take a picture of it when I'm over there, but.
I just took it. Here.
Oh,
You go
and-
take another picture. I'll sit here and wait.
And I could bring a yard sign down to show y'all that there are authority lines on them.
I just took a picture of one on Trevanium Road.
Okay, well, in a
Robert
couple
saw
minutes,
me.
I can prove that they're on there. Okay, give me some time.
And as I said before you came in, my concern was, initially the concern is that the signs do not conform to what's required by law. My greatest concern, however, is not that. My greatest concern is the fact that you responded to Linda that, oh yeah, the authority lines are there, you just have to look for them. And to me, from what I can see here, what I saw with my own two eyes, it's a material misrepresentation to the Ethics Committee.
Not that they have authority on.
We know that's what you said last time, but it's so small that it's not visible. And the purpose of it being on the sign is that it be visible to anybody that's looking at the sign. It has to be visible.
Has to contain it.
I don't know. Yeah, have somebody bring it up. Well, the one out at the end of town does have an authority line on it.
I go past it every day, but I don't look.
I did specifically notice that one
Rachel,
has
I'm
it.
so sorry. Would you mind just stepping to the microphone so that Attorney Bello can hear what you're saying?
My forms, I know y'all brought that up, and that's just a tilde for approximately $100 because it was just materials.
So it was a tilde, not
Yes,
a money.
ma'am.
Okay, that's
Yes,
fine.
ma'am.
Well,
It was a tilde, and it was just to show, it was just some material that we had lying around at Laughing Coffin that we
Yeah.
didn't have any use for, and it had been there for a while, so my business partner was like, yes, if you can just go ahead and use that, and then we'll just mark it as a in-kind donation from the business.
By the way, what was the cost of that big sign on the sign of the building?
That was all leftover material. Oh, that cost? Oh. It was put in with a bunch of signs, so I do have the receipt, but I don't have it on
I
me.
think you had something like 2,300
Yeah,
or
but that
more,
included
which
other
included all your
signs.
signage.
Yes, ma'am, and shirts. So I don't have like written down value on me right now, but I think it was 500, 600, somewhere around there.
While we're waiting,
Oh, yeah.
that's what I'm ready here.
On the,
I didn't have a problem with that because the numbers added up to me.
on your summary report, you had 113 balance, you added 200, and your total cash was 200, so that should be 313.26. Then you spent 120.75, leaving you a balance of 192.51.
Oh, I see where you're saying, Linda, I missed, okay. Yeah, right here. Yeah,
I mean, the bottom line adds up, it's just the
my
middle
brain
line
wasn't
that's incorrect.
processing it that way. I was looking at the bottom line.
Do you want her to correct that, the total?
Oh, I think so,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, just, I looked at that 3 times and I still didn't see it.
And it's in italics.
Contribution, so they want to see the 313.26. You can just like correct it on this form. Just
You know,
I don't know what the rule is.
I'd like to just say this. I looked at the yard sign, and I see that the sign does in fact, at the very bottom, tiny little letters, it says, Authority of Rachel Miller. But it doesn't say, are you the treasurer?
It's on every sign I've ever seen other times, so that's why I brought it up. Oh, okay, well, I saw it down at Southern Maryland.
There he comes.
How's it going? May I approach real quick? I got a sign here for you.
Sure.
Thank you. Bottom.
Yep.
Not only that, there's nothing code and charter that says what the size of it has to be, and there's nothing that says it has to be visible to people going by. On the big sign, I know for a fact she wrote it in permanent marker because I was there when she wrote it. So I don't know if someone went out there and erased it. I don't really care, but it was there. When I didn't have authority lines on my material, I wasn't chastised by the ethics committee. I was just told to make the change. So again, the authority line is on the signs. I know that for a fact. I know it was on the big sign. I know that for a fact. I don't know why my wife is being chastised by the ethics committee. Sorry, I had
It's not on the
I had
big
to sprint
sign.
up
I just
this
took
way
a picture
forward.
of it.
I'm just saying, this is, and not only that.
And she said
when
that it
I'm-
was a permanent marker.
It was a permanent marker. You can erase a permanent marker with alcohol and a wipe. I know for a fact she wrote it on there. And my other My other problem is that, you know, when I'm looking at the agenda for the Ethics Committee, I see nothing on there about signage. I just looked it on the Taneytown, Maryland website, but she would have been here if she knew that. My understanding was you guys were here to go over the forms. I don't know how other stuff keeps coming up during the meetings. That happened during the election committee meeting. Extra stuff came up that wasn't on the agenda. Extra stuff came up during the ethics meeting today that wasn't on the agenda. If you guys want to bring it up, put it on the agenda. That's how it's supposed to be, so public comment can come and do it. Sorry, again, I don't want to have to drive all the way up here. Traffic's in a standstill. So, again, the authority line's there. I know she wrote on the big sign. I don't know if it's a woman and erased it, don't really care. But the idea of chastising her over the authority line and that she made a misrepresentation is crazy and ludicrous. I know for a fact she put it on there. I was there the day she did it. And again, when I didn't have authority lines on my stuff back during the previous election, I was just told I needed to correct it. And I took a permanent marker and wrote on my stuff. So it's no different than what happened in 2023 when I didn't have authority lines to begin with. So again, I don't know what's happening here. I had to come up here for an elections committee meeting too, where stuff wasn't on the agenda that was brought up, but this is a little ridiculous. That's why you guys have agendas. That's why committees have agendas. That's why council, mayor, everybody has agendas, so the public knows what you're going to be talking about. Thank you.
Well, before you leave, I took this picture about 15 minutes ago. Can you show me where on here the authority line is?
Well, I know for a fact she wrote it at the bottom of the permanent marker because again, I was out there. Permanent marker you can erase with alcohol.
Who would have done that?
But if you'd like, we'll go right in again permanent marker. It's not that big of an issue. And again, as far as whether people have to see it or not, there's nothing in code and charter that says they have to be able to see it. There's nothing that states a size requirement. And I'm going to tell you now, based on other signs that I've already seen, I don't even know what other signs say. So you definitely can't read the authority line on those other signs if you're driving by or
Well,
walking
it's
by.
perfectly visible on the sign that's up at the by the circle.
Those were printed at a different time than the big sign.
I mean, it's fine there. You can see it very easily.
I know, I'm just letting you know, those were printed at a different time. Obviously, when we printed the big sign, the authority line was missed. That's why she went and did permanent marker on it. And then when we printed up the follow-up signs, which as you do when you notice something is wrong or you did something in error, you fix it in the next iterations, which is what we did with the next iteration of signs. That's why you can see it on those other ones, because they are printed, about 2 or 3 weeks after the large sign. The large sign was the first sign to go out. Any additional questions?
Not for you, no.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like, I think it would be appropriate for you to rewrite the authority line on the big sign. Nobody did anything with it.
She just got a call from the newspaper because there's more than enough.
I 100% wrote that statement, the authority line, on that sign. And I have picture proof, but obviously it was months ago that I did it, so I'm trying to currently find that for y'all. Because I went there, because Chris is like, hey, the big sign, we forgot the authority line. I'm like, okay, I'll go write it in permanent marker right now. And he was at the store at the time. I said, all right, is this good enough? And he said yes. So I don't know why this is such a big deal. considering it was a simple fix that I did at the time. And now that it's not there, like, do you understand what my family has gone through just from him running initially? CPS calls, there was, yeah, comptroller, like,
Trust me, if you think they, consistently for months.
I was told by a newspaper journalist, and I'm not going to state which one, that my family was being followed. Pictures were being taken of my kids. Pictures were of them at school, of my business, of me and Chris just out and about. But if you want to believe that nobody would go to tamper with the
irrelevant.
sign, that's fine.
We're not considering any of that. We don't know anything about it.
I'm just stating, like,
not
it
getting
does
into that.
happen.
Well, maybe it does, but all I'm saying is, it's not on the sign.
Well, I will correct it as soon as I walk out of here, if that will make you happy.
One of the things that I had said earlier is, as a real estate agent, I'm required to put certain things on all advertising with my broker's name and EOE and everything, and equal housing. And we have requirements for size. So that's why I just presumed, I don't know about political signage, that there probably should be a visible issue there. Like, people should be able to see it. If you're required to put it on, it's ridiculous if it doesn't have a size. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not questioning that. What I questioned was why it wasn't there. You said it was. So I didn't see it when I looked at the sign. So that was,
That's understandable.
and he was discussing it when I walked in, so
I will take that into consideration when designing other signs in the future.
I guess so, yeah.
I appreciate it.
I mean, the other one looks fine. So when you see them and they're a certain size based on the sign, my presumption, because of the business I was in, is that it's a dimension that's a requirement.
Yeah, I just normally try not to take away from the text on the, for instance, like a mailer or a door hanger, for instance. I try to not take away from it.
that too, but
And-
you got to do what you got
Yeah,
to do.
and also when it's hard to fit stuff in there
I
when you have a lot to
understand.
say.
Listen,
So-
I
So I
understand.
try to make it as small as possible, but that it's still there.
Right.
But I can understand your problem with
It's
it.
just
So
a question based on ignorance of political signage versus
completely
my knowledge of real estate signage.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So is that acceptable then to everybody, that she will
I would
rewrite
like
that
to-
on the
I would
big
like to
sign?
table any further discussion until we have an opportunity to review what the actual requirements of political signage are. Well, I'm sorry. We want to get the information from our council.
Well, again, your council should know that authority line doesn't have to have size. I know the council doesn't like me, but he should at least know that, and he should have corrected you guys on that to begin with.
I don't know where this comes from. I've been sitting here watching this, and the Ethics Commission is here to deal with the rules. And you brought up a legitimate question, and I'm not there, but it would seem like you could get up and walk down the street, and either the sign has an authority line or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, one needs to go on. And the drama that's being put out there about all this stuff seems to be irrelevant to the fact that either it has an authority line or it doesn't. There's no size requirements, but common sense would say that you should be able to see it. Again, you don't have to see it going 55 miles an hour down the road, but there shouldn't be this question of it's so small no one can see it, because the question I would have is, aren't you all going to go down and walk down the street and see if it's there? And if it's not, aren't you going to have them put it there? So I don't really understand the angst and the drama that's being created with the mayor and the candidate. That seems to be irrelevant here. Either we comply with the statute, which is 1813, or you don't. And if you don't comply, the Ethics Commission can issue a penalty. But normally in the past, you have just said, correct this, and that's it.
Well, Jay, and I blew up the picture that I took, and there is an authority line there, but when I took that picture, I stood less than 5 feet away from that sign, and it was not visible. It became visible during the course of this meeting when I blew it up, and it's very, very tiny, very, very faint, and it's not discernible to the naked eye from any distance away. So my thought is, if you got a sign and there's a requirement, it's got to be visible from a reasonable distance away. If it's not visible from a reasonable distance away, it doesn't comply with the spirit of the law. Now, I don't know what the signage requirements are. It's required to have an authority line, but as to the size of the authority line and the distinctiveness of the authority line, I don't know. And I don't know if our regulations address that.
They do not. There is nothing in there except all material. So it's not just signs. All material must have an authority line that says who put the material out. And if that person isn't a candidate or on file with the Ethics Commission, they have to put their address on it too. So by Joe Blow is fine if that's it. And there's no size requirement to be on there. So it's, again, common sense. Does it comply if it's minute? Well, it complies with the letter of the law, but maybe not the spirit of the law. But I was under the impression that the issue that you're having is that the sign is missing something. And if it's missing, it needs to be included.
Well, the big sign on the side of the building is missing. And it's been alleged, I don't know if you heard the testimony, that it was written, when that was pointed out, it was written very small at the bottom, and it has been erased by some unknown person.
And I mean, I guess the thing I look at is it's simple to come into compliance with that because it can be written on again. And then that solves.
And that's what they agreed to do.
Right. So I think that solves the problem. And I think everybody knows if signs need to have an authority line. So I think the point's been made clear, but if the commission feels they need to do something else, then we'd have to figure out what the something else would be.
Jay, can I ask a question about a different matter?
Sure.
I'm new to the Ethics Commission. I just got the 15 pages of the chapter on ethics from the city code. But since one of the forms paid for Facebook ads, looking at the Facebook ads just now, what is the position on people in uniform endorsing a candidate in a picture with their uniform on? And I don't mean if this needs to be brought up next month. This is not new business. It's just a question that I just got right now.
Yeah, I don't know the facts, so
Because I do know in other municipalities that's not considered ethical by the city employees or county employees or state employees to take political positions.
yeah, typically that it's not a.
Well, first I'm asking the attorney, then you can speak. I can't stop you from speaking.
Typically, it's not a candidate's issue, right? So the candidate can put what they want as long as they comply with the law. But it would be an issue for the employee or the official that would do that. And I don't know the facts. So if it's, for example, let's say it's a Taneytown firefighter that's in the picture, well, we don't have any authority over a Taneytown firefighter. If it's a Carroll County Sheriff's deputy, well, then it'll be there. But if it's a Taneytown police officer that's doing something like that, then the question would need to be raised with the city management as far as that goes. And again, it would depend on the police officer. There are certain officers like the chief that are subject to your jurisdiction because they file certain forms with you. There are certain officers like rank and file that would be subject to internal policies that would be enforced outside of you through the normal personnel manual. So I think the issue, I don't know the facts, but the facts should be turned over to Jim Weeprick and should be looked into if that's the case.
I only raised it to you since he is not here right now,
Yeah.
and I just discovered it on my phone just now.
Sure. So maybe Clara can get a screenshot or whatever we have so that we have something to go on and
Okay.
we can pass it on from there.
Clara, if it helps, I can send you a screenshot of the disclaimer saying that I'm not any way, shape, or form endorsed by this city employee by simply taking a picture of them to show that I went on a ride along in the city of Taneytown. So,
If you could send that to me, I'd appreciate it.
all right, sure thing. That's another thing. There has been pictures posted with city officials and city employees before in the past by several candidates, and I've never seen this be an issue until just now. And that's my only comment on it. Thank you.
This is my third meeting. I'm a volunteer. I'm just trying to apply ethically across the board the code to every candidate.
Anything else, Mr. Chairman?
I have nothing else. How about you guys?
Motion to adjourn, anyone?
Seconded.
Meeting is adjourned.